One of the big things we learned was greens. Greens is the most perfect food for man. It really is. They're loaded with protein. They're loaded with fiber. They're loaded with minerals, calcium, omega-3s in greens. You wouldn't believe that, but yeah. And so greens really make a difference in your health. It's good to get all kinds, a mixture of greens. Anybody do green smoothies? Okay, good. Green smoothies are huge, you guys. And we'll talk about what they're actually good for here in a second. But a little more about greens. The more bitter they are, the better they are, because they have that mineral. They have high-end mineral. Anybody growing their own greens? Awesome. Are you up in the hills or are you in town? Oh yeah. Well, good for you. Do yourself a favor. When you grow them, don't wash them. Because you may already know there's a bacteria on the leaf of the greens that actually converts into B12. So actually, that's a good way to get B12 naturally. It's kind of a bacteria, and the gut makes that change. Greens are like a food group unto themselves. I can't say enough about greens. So my first question was when we started is who wants more muscle, less fat? Greens. Greens is the food for you. Animals that have been fed greens and not grains, they become lean and more muscular and less fat. So we eat like the cows do, more greens and less grains. That's what's going to happen to us. It's pretty cool, ain't it? And so fiber. Greens is a huge source of fiber. And because if we don't get enough fiber, we become congested. And raw fiber is what you're getting with greens and with green smoothies. Green smoothies have two kinds of fiber. Greens is an insoluble fiber and acts kind of like a sponge going through the system. Fruit is a soluble fiber, which is a bulking agent. So together you got both kinds of fiber, and they go through the system, cleansing and purifying. I like to do on an ideal day, I drink a quart of green smoothie every day. For children, it's good like a pint. And if they don't like it, if it's too green, just add more fruit. So you put fruit and greens together, whip it up. And three things. I learned this from Green Smoothie Girl. She is an anomaly, with such a following and changing the lives of kids. Because if we don't change our children, they're the next coming up generation, and they're a sick generation. We need to really, really educate the mothers so the mothers will feed their kids right. But so green smoothies, more energy. One of the things you get, more energy. Number 2, weight loss. Weight loss. Number 3, better digestion. It cleans the system out. If you have a green smoothie a day, everything is just peachy. It works like a charm. And so it's huge. It really is. You're going to get all kinds of minerals, all kinds of phytonutrients. It's can't say enough about green smoothies. I'd like to talk about fiber for just a second. Does anybody know how many grams of fiber we should be getting a day? Do I hear 40? 45? Do I hear 50? 50 to 60 grams is what we should be getting. Guess how many grams of fiber we are getting on the standard American diet, the SAD diet. Guess how many grams we're getting? 5 to 10. That is if they put ketchup on their burger. Loaded with fiber, that ketchup is, Anyway, that's it. We're getting 5 to 10. What happens is when we cook food, the fiber is changed. It's pretty well dead. And there is some fiber, but what happens is when we eat fiberless foods or foods that are not full of raw fiber, it sits right here and it stays for a while. And that's what causes poisons and toxins building up in the system, causes illness. Another thing I want to cover is hydrochloric acid, stomach acid. Is that good or bad? We need stomach acid. People that don't have enough stomach acid do not digest their food enough, premature graying of hair, aging quicker, all kinds of problems, parasites, all kinds of problems. So again, green smoothies give you a high fiber diet, which actually helps create more hydrochloric acid. You can take those HCl pills also, or drink a little shot of vinegar before you eat, But having the stomach acid, the proper stomach acid, is good to do. So, and we're talking anti-aging here. You know, when you get to my age, you start thinking about those things. When you're young, you don't have to worry about that. But you should. You really should. So anyway, the other thing I want to talk about is probably the number one nutritious food on the planet right now. Per pound, the most nutritious food is sprouts. Sprouts is amazing. They are so loaded. They're loaded with vitamins. They're compact. They're loaded with vitamins. They're loaded with minerals. They're loaded with fiber. They're loaded with fat. They're loaded with male and female hormones. They are anti-aging super food of the century. Anybody grow their own sprouts? I challenge you to grow your own sprouts. It's easy, fairly inexpensive. I can give you a lead where to get them. There's a company out of Paradise, Utah that have probably some of the best sprouts. They're really, really easy to do, and they're just compact with life. They are full of life. And of course, the magic is enzymes. They are loaded with enzymes. Do you know that people, we, have a finite amount of enzymes we are given at birth? Enzymes. Guess what happens when we run out of enzymes? Anybody guess? Die. Bingo, you die. So how do we get our enzymes? Our endocrine system actually produces them. But I've got a shortcut. So this is my gig here. You got a bank full of enzymes. And every time you eat a cooked meal, guess what you got to do? You got to go to the bank, pull the enzymes out to digest the meal. But I've cut the corner here. I eat raw. I don't have to go to the bank very often. I don't deplete the enzyme bank. If you want to age early, don't eat raw food. Yeah. So I do talk about raw food, and let me put this caveat. I don't expect, I've had these immune problems growing up. I've told you our story. So I have an issue with the immune system. But when I eat raw food, I don't have a problem. I don't expect and don't teach people to go, you got to go raw, that's all. But so 8 years. Then I had a friend talk me into go cook. He goes, man, you're missing the good things in life. You're missing the grains. You need rice, grains, tofu. You're not getting it all. And I go, really? Okay. Taught me right into that because, it's been 8 years. I'm ready to experiment. And so we went cooked, and it took about 6 months. My damn asthma came back on me. I'm sitting there on the couch eating popcorn, and hit me, and I'm going, what happened? Could it be something I breathed in? I'm rationalizing, So I clean up my diet and I go cook, raw again, and asthma goes away and I get feeling better, and then I'm going, I don't think it was how could cooking something make you sick? That's stupid. That's really stupid. So I go back to cook. And then I get sick again and go raw, and then cooked and raw. And so finally, after 4 years, I got tired of being sick. I'm a baby when it comes to being sick. Went back to raw. And within a few short weeks, the magic happened again for me. So for me, raw really does make a difference. And I'll tell you the big deal about raw. Here's the big deal. It's enzymes. It really is enzymes. It's the life force of the body. Enzymes do 3 things, and that's why I had immune problems. Number 1, of course, it digests food, right? Food digestion. Number 2, it actually delivers nutrients into the cell. All your cells, your organs, tissues. That's what enzymes do. I couldn't do this without enzymes, by the way. Enzymes are huge. So I'm showing off. Number 3, you've seen Pac-Man on the little video game thing? That's what enzymes do. They go in the body and just Pac-Man, eat up all the garbage, all the toxins and poisons that's building up in your system. And so it actually is an immune system. It builds your immune system. And that's where the problem I had is, with immune struggles. But going back to raw, I don't worry about it. I don't get sick. If I start to get snick, I might get the sniffles, but that's it. That's about it. And so, I just choose to not be going through the crap. So the other thing I want to talk about is soaking your seeds. Seeds have what's called a sprout inhibitor inside the seed. And if we don't soak the seed like an almond, when I have a handful of almonds that haven't been soaked and chew on it and swallow it, the body goes, oh man, wake up endocrine system. We need some enzymes really bad. Breaking down that sprout inhibitor is really hard on your stomach, really hard to digest that stuff. Ever tried a soaked almond? They're amazing, aren't they? They swell up, they become a living food. But before they're soaked, they're hard to digest. A gob full of those soaked seeds, which they really are good. It's kind of like a protein, a raw protein. And then you have a handful of sprouts on your salad. It's amazing. I have a little system going with our protein and everything that really, you can, if you want to eat more of a living food diet, you don't have to be all raw or anything, but it really makes it easy. We'll share that with you here in a second. So soaking your seeds is big. The next thing I want to talk about is the superfood, ancient superfood of the future. I'm going to talk about a superfood that's amazing, probably just right under sprouts. It is called chia seeds. Anybody do chia? They're amazing. They really are. Chia seeds have 5 times more calcium than milk. Chia seeds have 15 times more magnesium than broccoli. On the ORAC scale, does anybody know what ORAC means? Oxygen radical absorption capacity. In other words, ORAC is like your antioxidant, 4 times more than blueberries. Chia seeds are they're amazing. Chia seeds, talk about fiber. Put a couple of scoops of chia seeds with your food or in your blender with your sunware shake. Excellent. One of the best fibers. Omega-3s? Omega-3s are huge. We don't get enough of them on our diet. They're loaded with omega-3s. And which omega-3s are good for the memory, good for the mind, good for the heart, good for diabetes, good for cancer. You want to get away from the tracks? Chia seeds. You want to get away from the tracks? Green smoothies. Takes you way far away from the tracks. Greens, fruit, raw living food, sprouts, anti-cancer, anti-diabetes, anti-heart disease. If you incorporate those things, you're getting yourself way off the tracks.